pig soup, the water, the primordial soup we always hear about, was kind of the basis for all that stuff. And here we have Fermilab's primordial soup. I got to give Pete Fisk credit for that. That was a good one. Fermi was a good physicist, by the way, so don't take it lightly. He was an excellent physicist, but this is cute. Okay, now we're going to analyze some scripture. All right, I want to analyze it from Young's literal analysis here, going to the Hebrew. Whoop, I didn't want to do that. Let's see what I do here. Go back the other way. Okay, thanks. So I wanted to get the cursor up here, but gotta find him. Come on. Well, I can't find it. It's in there. Is it there? No, I don't see it. Anyway, do you see the cursor?
There we go.
Oh, you got it? Okay, thank you. Fred knows his computer better than I do. All right. So here we go. In the beginning, okay, that's what we read, right? The earth has existed according to the literal translation now. Young's literal translation does not attempt to make a smooth English structure. It takes it word for word, exactly from the Hebrew, and so it's kind of awkward, but the sense is there. The earth hath existed, waste and void. Okay? Now it says in the beginning of God's preparing, it wasn't a complete act. You know the old gap theory? Okay, try to take those first two lines and say God did an old creation and a new creation, a bunch of bunk, because they don't understand the Hebrew. They don't understand what's going on there. In the literal translation, an ongoing process in the beginning of the creation when he's creating. So he hadn't completed it yet. And tenses, I understand in Hebrew, I'm not a Hebrew scholar, but I understand tenses have to be obtained from the context of what you have. Okay? Now, waste and void, tohu, in the Hebrew, without form or in a state of waste, in other words, an unrecognizable form. That's the best overall translation. Void, okay, bohu, empty, not having its what? Content, so its state of completion. So waste and void, okay? So obviously we have a situation here where whatever is going to be structured has not yet what? Been structured, right? Okay? Now, the darkness is on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God fluttering on the face of the waters. Okay? Now here, fluttering is rekoff, meaning to agitate, to stir, to shake. In other words, it's a process going here. Something's being done that's not normal. It's shaking it up a lot, shaking it up a whole lot. Probably shaking it up and just, knocking the energy into it. Okay? And the Spirit of God fluttering on the face of the waters, mehem, mehian, normal liquid water in Hebrew. It's normal liquid water. It's used in the plural form because it's possibly anticipating separation of water from one location into another. So that's why it says waters in the translation. Okay? Then God says, let light be, and light is. All right? And God sees a light, and the light is or. And the translation of or simply means illumination. But illumination implies a lot of things. It implies, for one thing, in the most general sense, what? Electromagnetic energy. So it does not imply just visible light necessarily, although it includes that. It implies all types of electromagnetic energy. So we shouldn't imply that it's just visible light that we're necessarily talking about here. God sees that it's good, right? And he separates the darkness, the light, and the darkness. He called the light day, and to the darkness he called night. God's defining a 24-hour period here, right? In the time scheme of things, okay? And then, so this is day one, Yom. And there's a lot of arguing about that. The best analysis, when used in the context of numeral relationships, is it means a 24-hour literal solar day. Okay? Nothing else. You can't anticipate long time periods. There are other words you can use for that. You don't have to use yom. If God wanted to, God's not short on words. He could have chose another Hebrew word, right? So 24 hours, really rigid here. He said, let the expanse be in the midst. Well, the expanse is what we're going to call the firmament. Ragia, the firmament, or expanded space, more generally meaning heavens. Heavens is kind of a generic term here. And then, so they'll be in the midst of the waters, and let it separate between waters and waters. Okay, waters and waters. Again, mayan, waters under the heavens and waters above the heavens. So, well, we understand there's waters under the heavens because we know there's water all around us, right? Where are those waters above the heavens? Well, they've got to be out there somewhere, see? Now, what could that imply? A water vapor canopy that was, kind of included over and above the primordial atmosphere of the earth? Possibly, but there's a lot of work that suggests you couldn't stabilize that water vapor canopy in a general sense, either in gaseous form or liquid form or solid form. So we don't get too hepped up about a water vapor canopy so much anymore. Larry Vardaman at ICR did a lot of work on that, and he's pretty much convinced that there may be some vapor canopy, but not strictly water vapor, okay? So we want to get off track on that, but this is leading to waters above. Russ Humphreys, now at ICR, says those waters above went all the way to the outer edges of space. If you read Starlight in Time, one of his publications, or see the video, he talks about these waters being expanded all the way to the outer edges of space. They're still out there. We don't see them, okay? All right, moving on. And God makes the expanse. He separates the waters which are above the expanse, and so it was, right? And he calls to the heavens, the expanse of heavens, and there's an evening, a morning, the second day. Now heavens, Shamayin, meaning atmosphere or space. It could be both. So it could be outer space and atmosphere. So there's no rigorous way of saying which was first, probably simultaneous. And then God said, let the waters under the heavens be collected into one place and let dry land appear. Wow. Dry land's coming out of water. There wasn't any land in the water to begin with. At least as far as we know, because Scripture doesn't reveal it, right? Because dry land's got to come from somewhere. That should be and. And it was so, not ABD. That's code. And God called the dry land earth, and of course he collected the waters and called them the seas, and he sees that it's good. Okay, Adamah, meaning solid ground. Terra firma, solid ground. Terra firma in Latin context, right? And relating to the dwelling place of mankind specifically. That's another interesting point of context here. This word relating to the